How's it going, everybody? Hope you're having a good day. Sorry I was late today. I was very late, and I'm not going to be here for very long. We got the Strike Spot live Twitch thing to watch. I got to get my son halfway through. I don't know how we're going to do this. But my understanding is we watch it here. We don't watch it anywhere. So we're going to start watching it for sure. I'm on the wrong game. All right, hold on. Let me make this Marvel Strike Force. Whoopsies. Drops will be enabled in just 1 second. I'm doing the wrong game right now for a second. I'm not supposed to be doing repo again. This is Marvel Strike Force. Okay. All right, now we're on the right. We're on the right game now. Yes, drops are enabled. How many questions are going to be about overpowered? Probably all of them. Probably all of them. All right, it's going to be a short stream. It is. So I'm here for... We're going to do some infographics, hopefully for Silver Sable and Hitmonkey. We have an hour to do that. Strike Spot reaction is going to be a thing we're going to do here as well. But about 35 minutes in, I had to run upstairs, wait at the end of the road. I like to be there early because I don't want my son to be wondering where I am. I don't want the bus to drive by me because my wife took my keys. I have no freaking car to go pick him up at the school if that were to happen. Did you stream your Room 60? I did a bunch of them. Yeah, I did a bunch of them. Yeah, I've had 10 teams work yesterday. I think 6 or 7 teams work today, so it's hit and miss for sure. But there's a lot of them that work. And I have a video out on it. Yeah, I gotta go get my kid at the end of the street. I'm gonna bring him in, give him a granola bar, maybe bring him downstairs with his iPad, and then we'll watch the rest of the stream together. My understanding is it's gonna be between 45 minutes to an hour. So I'm not going to see everything, but I want to have it here recorded with you guys chatting away because I think that's super fun. And then I'll go back and react to whatever I missed, I guess. Well, I'm not going to miss anything. I'm bringing my phone and I'm going to listen to the live stream while I'm waiting for Jacob. Normally I would never do this, except this is a big one. This is going to be super funny to me as far as like how they address overpower. And this coming age of Annihilus sounds like it's going to be pretty dope. Anyway. Let's get down to business. Let's do our Silver Sable infographic. It is a day late. We'll do that. Then we will do Hitmonkey if there's time, which I do think there will be time if we move fast enough. It's going to be a good day. Drops are turned on. Yeah, drops are by default turned on. You have to, like, actively turn drops off, I believe, which is like, why would you do that? That's just bonkers, Batman. Wait, which one did I miss? Did I miss the basic? Oh, yeah. Okay. I think they will address Overpowered as Mr. Overpowered. There you go. Alright, as far as the T4 goes, Flip with 3 positive effects is not bad if you have her as a striker, but I don't think she's ever going to use her basic, and I don't think you necessarily need a striker on the team. Maybe you know what? Maybe this gains more value when she is not on her team, because she's only 128 to be, so people go before her and lay the groundwork for her to move vulnerables. This will gain more value for sure. Okay, the special flip all positive effects and negative effects on primary and adjacents, as opposed to flipping nothing. She flips nothing otherwise? Okay, well, that's going to be an essential just because that ability sucks. Wow, that ability sucks. Okay. Then we got the ultimate. On war offense, there's at least one villain apply ability luck. Okay, this is necessary. Oh, this is the number 1 T4 for her. So ultimate, special, essential, the passive. Okay. I'm going to say the order of operations here is going to go alt, passive, special, basic. Did I ever trade APOC team in Sword today? I lost... No. Apocalypse and I kind of babied out. Full Orcus lost for me last night. So I ended up doing Apocalypse with Absolute A-Force and absolutely crushed it. Okay, let's do it like this. What's bothering me right now is that my screen is smaller to work with. And that's just so that I don't have to... Yeah. If I pull this out, does that fix things? Not really. My screen is small right now, so it's not stretched. I don't like it. I don't know how much longer I'm going to deal with this, guys. I'm just stretching straight. I can't do this. Nope, 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 nope. I can't do it. I can't do it. Go big. I'll unstretch it when we're doing the Twitch. That one's easy for me. But right now, this is crazy. I understand that some people hate the stretch. I get it. I get it. I can't not have it stretch right now because I have no room to work with here. APOC and Diamond Out Starjammers would work. People have claimed it does, and those people I have interacted with in the past. I have no reason to believe that they would lie for zero reason, so I think it does work. Bam, I should not have... all of these need to be aligned to the left. Boom, boom, boom. Bring this over. We can make it bigger. Okay. I think the passive and the ultimate here have the same value. Like, they're both essential, but you just gotta do them both, so it doesn't really matter which way you place it. APOC Night Stalkers works. I could see it working. Yeah. Could see it working. Does Raider on Thanos make his Rainfire crit? Yes, bro, it does. Hopefully this new store has a ton of training mats. I need them so I don't buy any offers passes. Yeah, hopefully it does have passes and gold in it. The strike spot is going to be in 50 minutes. What up, Kid Ego? That's so broken. I mean, that's why he's a good raider. That's what makes him a good raider. Bum, 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 bum. I can see, you know what? I think I like Striker on her outside of her team. Good raider on the team. Is that funny? That's kind of funny. Normally it's the opposite way. A good fifth with Vigilante and Raids, there is no good fifth. It's either the whole team or nothing. That's by design. Silver Sable, her passive doesn't work without the entire team. I gotta move over a bit. Okay. This needs to be way smaller. Sadly, I'll miss the strike spot because I've been meeting. I think it's going to be an absolute shit show with the chat flaming them at OP. I think so too. That's what's going to be fun about it. The stream with RJ is in 49 minutes. Y'all are going savage for it too. I love it. I don't know if I don't know how media trained Riot is. Not like I'm media trained, but like I became familiar with it, right? Like I don't. You know what? Somebody better tell him like close chat. Do not read chat. Turn it off. That would be my advice to him right now, bro. Turn chat off before you go. Let Pathfinder sort through the chat or you're done. You're gonna get cooked. Oh my god. It's gonna be crazy. Move this around. Okay. Odds to take questions, especially on overpowered. My understanding is that they're going to be taking live questions. Now, are they just going to ignore overpowered? Maybe. Somebody's going to be in there fielding the questions for sure. Get off this. What is happening here? Oh, come on. What was that? Do you feel that we'll get a rework for the Vigilante? See, we already did get a little mini one. But yeah. They're smart enough. They know what is coming. Yeah, I think so. I was thinking about this on the toilet this morning. Has Boundless just been going through a really bad depression ever since Tadano broke up with them? Like, has anyone spent that much money since? Well, Tadano's back. And you better believe... with players like Beta Ray Bill and the Ceci's World and the Fate's Fury, like, there's no shortage of those Krakens, and more come. I know not everyone wants to believe that, but that's just the truth, man. And God bless them, because I don't have to pay that much money to keep the game afloat. Now, overpowered can get fucked, but God bless them. Says he sent me one of the silliest songs ever yesterday. Actually, I'll play it. Hold on, let me play it. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Here we go. Here, let's go to the website.
Yeah, I'm the villain, right? Cause I swipe. Cause I earn what you cry about. Okay, let's go. Oh no, it feels bad. I can't compete. Once I give 'em while I'm begging in the street. Theory craft kings with a cardboard crown. But when it's time to war, y'all just let us down. It feels bad. I can't compete. Once I give 'em while I'm begging in the street. Theory craft kings with a cardboard crown. But when it's time to war, y'all just let us down. It started with Underworld, Dunk, and Darkhold. Punch-ups wild like bugged-out consoles. No logic, just cope in the threads. You're smarter if you don't spend, they said. But guess who breaks? DDX. Guess who maps every war flex? CC champs with no time to spare. Spenders lead, you just copy and stare. You mad like a G20 fast while you G-team cry as I lap your ass. Drop 6 bills, I want results. Not get clapped by a dude who consults us.
Sense is getting too good at these songs, man. It's so insulting to us, and yet I love it. It's so good.
It's not fair, not as commitment. You stuck in plat, still beg for forgiveness. I built my squad, you build excuses. Posted your tech, but no one used it. Your team, your strat, straight up dust. Blend the RNG, then whine and cuss. I'm stacking ASO, bricks and lanes. G20 squads, wiping whole campaigns. Overpowered? Yeah, by design. Now it hits you, and that's the crime. If G-War 4 beats your G18 team, you throw your phone and scream. Who you call when DD gets rough? Not forums, you DM us. New war rules, who solves those first? Not chat lurkers, crack and burst. CC strats, you don't create, you just watch. Write down, replicate. We drop comms, you try next week. Then flex online like the thought was unique. We lab with squads, you can't afford. You mimic moves, we already scored. Streegee's king, we built that crown. You lease our plays and still break down. Try Counter-Strike, see how your aim holds up. For Q into StarCraft 2, get folded up. No wallet buffs, no meta shield, just micro wars on a pro play field. You want fair, try skill-based grind, but you'd rage and blame the design. MSF's your safety zone, where feels bad, posters drone and moan. Don't act elite in a gotcha trap. When real games leave, your skills collapse. Let's be honest, you could catch up, but you want wins with zero prep. You want balance on tilted odds. Go write fanfic, play with gods. It just feels bad that you go too line while I bankroll every new design. You log in free off my parade, so maybe drop thanks with that tired tire. Ain't the problem, you just slow your adapt while we run every mode like it's already mapped. Feels bad, sure, get used to the trend. You'll feel bad cause you never contend.
Says he gone too far with this one. Says he went too far with that one. Reba was so fun with Scotty yesterday. Me, Scotty, and Brisson play. We'll get Sassy the next one. It's so fun, dude. Most people get angry over the principle of whatever change they make, rather than the change is a shock and disappointment, and when make weird and abusive decisions, like, hey, I thought we were friends. I don't know what that's in regards to. Is that in regards to overpowered? Modern value essential. Sure, yeah. Okay, she's 128, right? Let's make sure. Yes, she is. All right, Silver Sable is trash, but they kind of made her a little bit better. That's how we'll start this. Silver Sable and the Vigilante team are mostly going to find their value in raids. In raids, they will, of course, be the mandatory team for success. Success in the current raid tier and likely the next. And likely the next. However, in other game modes, they struggle greatly due to their slow start. However, with their large stats, this should still be a team most players max out now to observe the most benefit. With the slight rework to Silver Sable, look to use her as a plug and play character in war against the tricky Cosmic Ghost Rider teams. Okay. But that's only her saying, wait, what's going on? I actually think Sable got a very minor buff on the defense this season in Crucible. In Crucible? Where so in Crucible? Damn, that's a lot of writing. Service and Village team are mostly going to find their value in raids. In raids, they will of course be the mandatory team for success in the current raid and likely the next. However, in other game modes, they struggle greatly due to their slow start. Well, it's not two howevers. Let's get rid of this. This does not mean mid. Mid and new game players shouldn't look to max build this team. With the slight rework to Silver Sable, with the slight rework to Silver Sable, look no, yeah. With the slight rework to Silver Sable, common. Look to use her as a plug and play character in war against the tricky Cosmic Ghost Rider teams. There you go. What up, Ben? What up, Max? How's it going? The MSF live stream is going to be in 40 minutes. Okay, let's just go play Ceci's songs. It's kind of funny. He doesn't have a playlist of them all.
Oh no, the Kraken's bought the win again. While I'm grinding milestones with a busted friend. They got savior, I got lag. They flex teams, I just tag. Must be nice dropping cash to ascend.
Oh,
Wells ruin everything and damn right we did. I don't grind, I swipe. You pray for shards, I swipe. 49.99, just warm up mode. New two drops, built on Q. 7 yellow, 7 red, 3 diamond.
True, Cal.
Power creep, I flex finesse.
True, Cal.
Still need a rest. Lanes on sim, heals full stacked. You tap med kits. I kick back, refresh nose like it's hit at the gym. You save cores like it's charity spin. I blow 'em on trash just to watch you cringe. Punching brackets while you dream of wins. 10 moves deep while you're stuck on menu screens. I preload hits, you preload memes. Still tapping help like you pray to dev teams. Blitz rotation scripted high. Alliance hop just to flex what I got. You flex one tune, I drop the lot. Whole roster max, no fakes, no bot. Spreadsheets tight, no guess, no luck. You theory craft, I just conduct. Crucible clears, all one shots clean. You brought Hulk, I brought Xavier. Churls in your mind like a hex. I knew the kit before the patch. You checked Reddit, I matched and snatched.
Oh, he's talking about that early Kraken info. Let's go, Ceci.
Scopely dropped to the bug on site. Still I flip 'em, build 'em right. I run a map before the notes go live. While metas die, still thrive. You cry on Reddit, I crack the code. Optimize while y'all implode. Devs nerf, we don't complain. We break the mold and run the game. You toss blame, I take the crown. Free to play mad, watch me drown. All your dreams can stab them, son. Game still live when the patch is done. Oh no, the Kraken's bought the win.
Sable going, Ceci going crazy, dude.
With a busted friend. They got savior, I got lag. They flex teams, I just tag. Must be nice dropping cash to ascend. Nah, just smarter ways to spend. Oh no, the Kraken's bought the win again. While I'm grinding milestones with a busted friend. They got a savior, I got lag. They flex teams, I just tag. Losing cool, must be nice dropping cash to ascend. Nah, just smarter ways to spend.
Why?
Don't play, we orchestrate. You beg for scraps, I
there we go.
separate. You post memes, I post results. You blame the game, I blame your brain like it's stuck in the rain. This
Yeah.
ain't pay to win, it's pay to erase.
Sable. Dude, what up, Sassy? We're just admiring your work right now. Oh, not this one. Not this one. Come on, not this one, Sassy. Sassy with the gift of sub to the Donnie ranks. Bear Geek with the resub. Oddbob with the resub. Thanks, guys. You're the best. Appreciate you guys. I'll get your spin in a second. I know you're here for the spin, Sassy. You trying to get that reband on Menfetti, huh? Doing magic. Little monkey gotta dance, little monkey gotta run, do a push-up or a nickel, tell me man, is that fun? Think you rich, you're stacking coin, nah you ain't rich, ain't no contract. What up, Silky? Sign, just a broke ass bitch. Yes, owner. MSF rap, bro, that ain't even starting in 13 minutes. Are they starting sooner? Where'd she post it? 36 minutes. I think she meant, oh, 35 minutes, okay. Yeah, to me it says 35 minutes, Steven. Backseat of a truck was the peak of your prime. Now you rage on cam while your fan base declines. Trying to flex numbers, but they ain't adding up. Even gifted subs don't keep your ass up. Mods went ghost, owners turned to dust. Even 24 hours sub. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that, Sassy. Just a desperate little monkey trying to dance for some change. Little monkey gotta dance, little monkey gotta run. Do a push up for a nickel. Tell me, man, is that fun? Think you rich, you're stacking coin. Nah, you ain't rich. Ain't no contract sign, just a broke ass bitch. All right, we got some wheel spins, boys. We got some wheel spins. This one's going to be for Saw Owner. Here we go. We're not in any stream. That's not on here anymore. Not sauce, not sauce. Not sauce, not sauce. Oh, my God, not sauce. Oh, my God, not sauce. Anything but sauce. I don't want to do the sauce. No, my God, please, no. All right, Saw Owner. Pick one person and ban the shit out of them. You get to ban anybody you want for 24 hours from the stream. Can't be Nightbot. Can't be Nightbot. Alright, this is spin for Sassy. I'd rather lose the gold. I'd rather lose the gold. We're fine. I started finally cracking into it. Come on, man. Barry Geek, this one's for you, buddy. Make an AI song. All right, Bear. Tell me what you'd like me to make a song on. I still got Big Positive Geek. Sorry, I didn't mean to skip you, buddy. Oh, we got Menfetti coming in with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 gifted subs. Let's go, Menfetti! All right. We're going to spin for Big Positive Geek. Bear, let me know what AI song you want to make. It'll be like this, but horrible. 50 jacks. Come on, Big Positive Geek. I'm not trying to get that fit. All right, let me write this down. Oh, my God. Let me find the right tab. Plus 5 kilometers, 50 jacks. God damn it, dude. Looking after my health? True. Did we get the ban out in time? Did I see Saw Owner banned him? Wapo? Did somebody get him? I'll take the ban. Wapo. Get fucked, Wapo! Wait, that you don't exist. Sorry, I didn't know how to spell his name because he's such a nobody. I'm gonna call him Wapo. Wah. Get out of here! Nobody needs you. Bye, Lappy. Alright, this one is for Menfetti the Goat. Let's freaking go! No! No, 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 no! No, no, no! I have to give the money away to the mods now? What are we doing? Who the fuck are these mods? Oh my God. Alright, this is up to you, Twitch chat. This is your insanity. Slash poll. Let's see which mod is getting $15 gift. All right. We got Zik. Two Zik. Who are my mods? You know, who am I? Leave me off the poll? All right, if you want. I don't even know who my mods are. Hold on. Creator dashboard. Who are my mods? Monetization? No. Viewer rewards? Settings? Moderation. Where are my mods? Show me my mods. Where are the mods? Community roles? Roll match. Okay, thank you. Okay. Zero. There's two Bakas on here. He only gets one spot. A Gamer Doc, George. Jumping with the game. Mobile Gamer is just a mod in name only. Pathfinder doesn't do that anymore. Purple doesn't play the game. Reminex. Scotty has his own thing. Skinny Boston. Steven. Tyga. There's a lot of people that are... Why are they still moderators? Skinny can stay on. Reminex can stay on. I saw Reminex the other day. Purple's taking path and get out of here. John Boy can stay on. We don't have that many mods. Roxy Car, I've seen him here before. I'll tell you what, we'll include Daedalus. We'll include Daedalus. What up, Sheriff? Alright, guys. You have 1 minute. Pick which mod is going to get a $15 gift. Compliments of Manfetti. Did I miss anybody? Otbot. We're going to roll one last time for Otbot. Here we go. All right. Now we have a stream title. Otbot, if you're still here, you want to give me a stream title? We'll put that in. If I'm yelling, it's because I can't not listen to Ceci's music. Fucking blasting. I have to listen to it blasting. It just goes too hard. It's too hard. All right. Where was I? We're doing a new one for Hitmonkey. If I win, I'll use the money to help oppress the poors. T-Zik won by a mile. Alright, so T-Zik is getting a $15 gift. Let me send that message to T-Zik's way. Steve, you do a lot for the stream, though. Why don't you want to be on there? Wait, yours is different than mine. Interesting. I never gave Ceci his sword back. Oh, Ceci's supposed to be a mod. Oh, Ceci's supposed to be a mod. He didn't get in there. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. He was supposed to get it back. Oh, Manfetti banned him? Damn, Manfetti banned Ceci for the day and from the wheel. Oh, man. I think it's silly for that to be on the wheel, to be honest. A lot of content creators do stuff like that for mods. And here's the thing, guys. You do help me a lot. When you change the thing for me just because I forget, that means a lot. It puts me in the right category, which is very important. When you intentionally ping a lot of stuff on the Discord to help people, which is great. You guys do more than you think, I think. Oh, Kel coming in with 10 gifted subs as well. Kel, not to be undone, needs to get his spin. Let's go. Wait, I can't listen to music. Wait, don't listen, don't listen. We are 100% getting demonetized for that one. That's NF to search. I bang out the NF all the time. That's 100% demonetization right there. I just got wrecked. I just got rickety wrecked. We're going back to the epidemic sounds. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. I know. I keep, especially right before the beat drop. Man. Damn. All right, here we go. Here's Kel spin. No sauce, no sauce, no sauce, no sauce, no sauce, no sauce. We're past the sauce. Oh no. All the sub money goes to the kids. It's always goes to the kids. All right, Kel, the way this works is we can go onto Amazon right now and buy a gift, a $15 gift for the kids. Or, as you see on the bottom right, the chat right now is banking all the money to get my boys a PlayStation 5 and or Nintendo Switch 2. Because they don't have any consoles yet, and they're starting to age into that. So you pick. You want to go drop 15 bucks on Amazon for a little toy? Or do you want to bank it? Bank it? All right. What is fit? We are like right there, aren't we? Ooh, I'm going to have to pony up that cash here in a minute. Manfetti, oh, did Manfetti drop some more? Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. All right, hold on. Let me save this. Put it up on stream before I forget. We're now up to 15. Boom. What did you do, Manfetti? Manfetti dropping another 5. I have a rule. Listen, I have a rule. You're not allowed more than one spin an hour. Okay? So you're supposed to wait an hour. We're gonna do one more from Manfetti because I don't think I told him that rule. I had to make that rule because Ceci was abusing it, okay? Ceci was torturing me. He was literally torturing me. Making me act a fool all the time. We're doing one more from Manfetti. And then it's an hour cooldown. I mean, you can sub if you want still. All right, Manfetti. Let's continue the war with Ceci. All right, we're going to make an AI song. We're going to go right at Ceci's throat, right? Right? We're going to go right at Ceci's throat? Let's get him. Yo, let's get him. Let's see. You want it? Do we do a banger against Ceci? Yeah, it's your pick. It's your pick, Manfetti. We're going to make an AI song tonight. Seems like the stream is live. All right, let's go check it out. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, you guys can't hear the music. My bad. It's a banger song right now. Actually, we do a banger against Wapo. Wapo getting fucked. I'm here for it. I'm here for it, dude. Let's get him. Marvel Strike Force. Well, yeah, so it's just this. Okay. I'll tell you what, though. We don't want it like this. I want it like, this one. Is this better? No. We'll fix this one up. Hold on. Okay. If I do this. Alright. And we stop cutting off the edge. Stop cutting off the edge. Do like this. Oh. Let's cut this off. Cut this off. Cut that off. I'm really happy with their increased social media presence. I think they're doing a much better job being with the community. Okay, so when we watch it, it's going to look like this. Okay. But we're not doing that right now. We're doing some infographic. We still got to do Hitmonkey. Your mate says he missed out on the mod gift. We're going to banger against Wapo. God, are you sure though? Because I don't know if I can top. I'm going to find it for a second. I'll see if I can find it. Hold on. Wait, why is this not showing the right thing anymore? All right, never try and YouTube the word Ceci because it's not what you think it would be. It goes on a whole different meaning there. What's going on? I broke something. Oh, here we go. So this is what I'm gonna have to top. Let me find it. Oh no.
Yo, it's that time again. Another fake flexer needs to be put to bed. Wappy? Man, you barely exist. Let me send you back to the tutorial list. Wappy's in and out like a John on Figueroa. Gifted more accounts, but still trash. We all know it.
AK, MSF's worst player, get the hell out the way. Talking big game, but your skill is a joke. Even Doolum sees your moves and starts to choke. Simple man, simple plan. Yeah, it's simply trash. Your strategy's crashing like a plane with no gas. Hey, Wappy's washed, Wappy's done. Every squad you build gets outscored by a bum. Every match you play another L on repeat.
Valley? I got Valley for you. Sure.
W-A-P-P-Y, nah, that's W-E-A-K, no lie. You suck up to mobile, complainer just to survive. Taco Bell bribes, man, you barely alive. Yo, let's talk facts, let's talk real. You ruin rosters faster than devs nerfing a deal. Gifted more accounts than Santa Claus, true, but every single one gets worse under you. Okay, so real, it's a natural disaster. Even a bot could build teams faster. Mobile complainer, bro, he just laughs. When he sees your play, he deletes the vibe fast. Wappy, you're a parasite sucking up air. MSF streets, man, nobody cares. Even Doolum outplays you blindfolded and drunk. You ain't even mid-tier, you just straight up sunk.
Oh, oh my God.
Nah, that's W-E-A-K, no lie. You suck up to mobile complainer just to survive. Taco Bell bribes, man, you barely alive. Wappy's done, Wappy's through. Marvel Strike Force never needed you. Just log out, go away. You've been trashed since your very first day.
It's so rough, dude. It's so rough. Ceci's such a mean guy. Ceci just murdered him. He gets banned and gets that song played on stream. That's just rude. I'm sorry, Wapo. Listen, I don't control the things that happen on this stream. It's not actually in my purview to moderate things here. That's not what I started this for. All right, let's get this Hit Monkey Infographic done. We got 20 minutes to get it done. With Wapo Band, I just want to take this opportunity to say how awesome Flint is, and that Flint could definitely kick Wapo's ass. I don't know the history there. I feel like that's gonna hurt more than anything else that has happened today. All right, let's see the necessary T4s. On enemy death, generate. Okay, passive is 100% necessary because we just need our Punisher to keep just doing his spray and pray. Ultimate turn ability, 100% piercing. That's huge. 2 trauma to primary, as opposed to 0 trauma. Okay, just that's essential. How big a cooldown is it? He's gonna do this every turn. Punisher the Striker. Mine's a Striker, but I think Raider's fine too. I think either way is fine. I like Striker. I really want to make sure that I kill that Jean Grey every time. I think he's ulting every single turn. Well, on the off chance he doesn't, this is okay. I mean, this is just moderate value. This is just moderate value, in my opinion. That Doolum one done? I mean, we played Reaper all night. You were supposed to be there. It's getting there. It's getting there. All right, it's gonna have a whole video. It's gonna have a music video with it, Ceci. Look, bleeds are nice. Again, though, unless you have a Striker, I don't think you're ever actually gonna use the basic. Can we get Vigilante and a trash can? Yes, we absolutely can. Yes, Manfetti. Let me do that. Thumb, nail, Vigi in trash can. Can we do that for... I already have 2 videos coming up today. Their stuff is already done. Can we do that for our first Crucible video? Is that your container you're drinking out of? Or would you put bagged milk in? No, this is water with a little bit of electrolytes in it. Some Meal Sport. Sure? Alright, sounds good. Alright, yeah, everything. These 2 are essential. This is, like, I would say high value. This is a pass for me. So, and the passive is number 1, for sure. Ultimate is number 2. Ultimate's not far off. It's a huge damage bump. A huge damage bump. Normally we don't see ones that are that big. Which is it? It's the swipe, okay. Do this. One day, I'm gonna shill out the money to get a Photoshop. I feel like I really stepped my game up with Photoshop, but I'm kind of comfortable with this one. It's $2 a month, so it's like, I hear you shout, have you never moved a fucking couch before? Dude, they don't know how to lift, man. They fucking Brisson and Scotty don't know how to move shit. Okay? They keep trying to lift things from the bottom. Why is it tipping over on me? It's called physics, motherfucker. Have you ever been from school? It's crazy. You lift from the bottom if there's two of you. If you're alone and you're lifting from the bottom, why is it flipping over? What do you mean why it's flipping over? You're lifting from the fucking floor. That's crazy, man. It's crazy. What percentage of the player base is anywhere near being ready for Professor X? Probably about 100 players, believe it or not. I'd say there's probably like between 50 and 100 people ready. That's what I would say. I'm going to do a hard pass on this one. I just don't think Striker is the move. This is not essential. This just, I give this one a high value. I give it moderate value. This is a moderate value kind of one for sure. You should use Adobe Illustrator or InDesign. Photoshop is a pain in the ass for graphics. Oh yeah? I kind of like this. This is, it's very easy to navigate. What's his unique? Oh, Graviton? Okay. And he's 127, yeah. More, well, you think there's more ready than that, Cal? It's definitely not as good as Odin for the cheap to play, but not nearly as bad as Mephisto was. I'll say that much as far as price points go. I think you'd be hard to argue otherwise. Hitmonkey. All right, Hitmonkey. He was tied on health with Sable, I believe. 16th. Yeah, okay. Damage, he was pretty high up there on damage. 10th. Good. Armor. Not bad on the armor. He's 14th, so he's tied with Sable. Focus. 15th. He's got a unique focus. That's interesting. I guess he's got to land that trauma, right? Resist. 35th. Tied with Super Sable. Okay. The Undergrow refresh helped a lot. Folks, I bet it did. Yeah. It's the Elder Gods of MSF, aka the Cthulhu Spenders, during Professor X. I think you'd be surprised. Because getting into the top, like, God, the top 20 players got enough to do, like, 8 characters for Mystic, Skill, and now Tech 2. Like, it's gonna be there's gonna be more people than you think. I know it may not feel like it for Spenders, but I actually think Spenders have a really good, there's a much better spending experience in Marvel Strike Force for the big Spenders on these sort of Dark Dimensions that there has been in the past. And I think they're gonna do the same thing with like another Odin-style character in between. I think they're gonna do like a Dark Dimension 9 in between the age. I think they'd be silly not to, for whatever ISO 8's gonna be. All right, Hitmonkey is too tall compared to the comics. End scene. Purple ISO Dark Dimension. Do you think they're gonna skip 4? They're gonna go straight to 5, 4 and 5? Or do you think they'll do like blue ISO? I'm not sure. A Hitmonkey is the energy battery on the Vigilante team. When he is scaled to a similar level to Punisher, he will take over as the main damage dealer. The Vigilante team isn't the greatest outside of the raid game mode, but Hitmonkey seems to have some good plug and play value. Jesus, my fingers are broken. They're not working properly. We got 12 minutes till the strikes time. Sorry, strike spot. If you were to get a decent payout for the Mutants vs Zombies milestone, would you gear to 20 Joaquin first and then work on Orcus? I'm in a huge standstill because of the data mines I saw about the race Professor X. I might have already fucked up by putting Endgame Thanos and Lilandra and Odin at gear to 20. Because I don't know how Professor X Red Stars are going to be handled. If they're handled the same way as Odin's was, and we need to clear City to get like his 5th red, and then we need to clear Global first to get his 6th red or something like that, I don't know how that's going to go. So right now, I am not doing anything. I am waiting to see what the Red Star situation is going to be like for Professor X. They already have bucked what I thought, though Professor X was actually going to be purple 4 and 5, especially with the pivot that they did after telling us that it wasn't going to be like APOC and more like Dark Dimension. So, man, I think that pivot was just a PR thing. People forget. We look back now at it super fondly. People hated the Age of Apocalypse sagas. We hated that we had to build Phantom X, Scarlet Witch, Dazzler, Magneto, Dark Beast. We did not like having to max out those characters. People were really pissed off about that. And it kind of soured the whole saga game mode, right? But then, when we went back to Dark Dimension for Mephisto, we realized the bare bones structure of the sagas is far superior as a game mode, in my opinion, anyway. So, they used the word Age of X, and people immediately said, Age of Apocalypse is fucking trash. Don't you ever do that again, okay? And the truth of it was, just don't force us to build these cookie cutter teams where some members are the member that you immediately sub off for an Ares, for an Apocalypse, for whatever the case may be, right? Don't force us to do that. And then it's a good ass time at that point, right? If we get to pick the characters like we do for Dark Dimension to go through the sagas, it's a much better time. The Vigilante team isn't the greatest outside of the raid game mode, but Hitmonkey seems to have some good plug and play value. I like to do, because this is like gamer logic, plug and play value. With a turn 1 stun and trauma, you can look to this post Ares stat character to take the place of your Spider Weaver, Black Cat. Like, turn 1 stun trauma is huge. With the turn 1 stun and trauma, you can look at this post Ares stat character. You can just look to this monkey to be a pivotal part. I don't know why I capitalized the P there. A pivotal piece in hybrid action in both War and Crucible. I think that's true. I think turn 1 stun is going to be important. He's got the new stats. I try and think, like, for Weaver, we use her charges against Odin right now for sure, right? But I think that a turn 1 stun trauma with the new damage and the new stats for it actually landing, I think it's going to be pretty important. He's too slow, but on his team, he's too slow, X. Off of his team, he still has the turn 1 stun trauma. Can chat be turned off here? You can minimize your chat if you want. He's still pretty slow up team. Well, no, you would look for whatever characters you put him with. You would look for them to either speed him up, like a Nightcrawler, or like a Nick Fury, something like that. Or you would look for the other 4 members to control the enemy teams to the point where he can go and do his thing. We blowing up about overpowered? I'm sure we will be. I'm sure we will be when the questions are getting asked in stream and we're seeing them ignore it. That'll be the take. Alright, I'm looking for Hitmonkey. Do I not have his art? Oh, I don't have any art for Hitmonkey. Hold on, let me see if it's available now. Can Scopely turn off their chat? They can, but they won't. They said they're answering questions. 7 minutes, by the way, until it's live. Alright, you want to listen to it again? Okay, we'll listen to it again.
Yeah.
One second. I got so many windows open right now. Here's the Kraken song to everyone crying about overpowered. I'm with the crying about overpowered community, by the way.
I'm the villain, right? Cause I swipe. Cause I earn what you cry about. Okay, let's go. Oh no, it feels bad. I can't compete. Once I give 'em while I'm begging in the street. Theorycraft kings with a cardboard crown. But when it's time to war, y'all just let us down. Feels bad. I can't compete. Once I give 'em while I'm begging in the street. Theorycraft kings with a cardboard crown. But when it's time to war, y'all just let us down. It started with Underworld, Dunk, and Darkhold. Punch ups wild like bugged out consoles. No logic, just cope in the threads. You're smarter if you don't spend, they said. But guess who breaks? DDX. Guess who maps every war flex? CC champs with no time to spare. Spenders lead, you just copy and stare. You mad I got G20 fast while you G-team cry as I lap your ass. Drop 6 bills, I want results. Not get clapped by a dude who consults us.
Hold on, let me address that statement. No, Krakens don't hate non-Krakens. You're being silly. It's a silly song, just goofing on things. That's all it is. It's just being silly.
It's not fair, nah, it's commitment. You stuck in plat, still beg for forgiveness. I built my squad, you build excuses. Posted your tech, but no one used it. Your team, your strat, straight up dust. Blend the RNG, then whine and cuss. I'm stacking ASO, blitz and lanes. Deep 20 squads, wiping whole campaigns. Overpowered? Yeah, by design. Now it hits you, and that's the crime. If G-War 4 beats your G18 team, you throw your phone and scream. Who you call when DD gets rough? Not forms, you DM us. New war rules, who solves those first? Not chat lurkers, Kraken's burst. CC strats, you don't create, you just watch. Write down, replicate, we drop comms, you try next week. Then flex online like the thought was unique. We lab with squads, you can't afford. You mimic moves, we already scored. Strategies king, we built that crown. You lease our plays and still break down. Try Counter-Strike, see how your aim holds up. For Q into StarCraft 2, get folded up. No wallet buffs, no meta shield.
I'm gonna pull the stream up, Cal. When they're starting, I'm gonna pull it up. Yeah, I feel like Ceci actually like hand wrote this one. This one feels too real. This one feels too real to not be like handwritten. Speaking of which, let's go check on them for a second. How's it looking? They're still just here. Why did that happen? Oh, because I do this and it's okay? Yeah, okay, that's fine. Okay, they're still doing their little countdown thing. That's okay. All right, are we done? I think we're actually done both infographics, though. That's great. Hitmonkey is the energy batter on the Vigilante team. When he is scaled to a certain level to Punisher, he will take over as the main damage dealer as well. The Vigilante team isn't the greatest outside of the raid game mode, but Hitmonkey seems to have good plug-and-play value. With the turn 1 stun and trauma, you can look to this monkey to be a pivotal. You can look for this monkey. You look for this monkey to be a pivotal piece in hybrid action in both War and Crucible. Raider, yes. Promethean, I guess so. Stats we did. Essential, moderate value pass. Yes. Hero City skill Blaster Vigilante. Is that right? Is that all his tags? Yeah. Okay, I guess we're done. We did our 2 infographics. We are done. The Vigilante solo infographics. Now I will do a team infographic for them. Not right this second, because we don't have time for that. But I will do that tonight. Actually, I'll probably do it once I have the free-to-play team released and try them in War and Crucible would be my guess here. All right, let's go to Patreon. If you guys want the infographics early, you can hit the Patreon. It's $1 a month. And if somebody reminds me after a patch goes by, I then put everything up on the Discord for free. And I tell everybody, if you are a member of the Patreon and you want to share the infographics with your alliance, with whoever, please just do it. I don't feel like I'm stealing the infographics from Patreon. No, share it. Do it. It's yours. The $1 a month is just like it's like a Twitch sub, pretty much. I want blue and purple ISO things. I kind of like the green because it stands out. It reminds me of the good old days, but I could use them. They're like buried in the game files, and I don't want to have to go find them. Ooh, wait, I have a collection. Vigilante Raid Team. Nice. Nice. Um, no banana jokes here. You won't catch me slipping on banana. No, okay, whatever. Hit monkey's great. Hit monkey looks to be a good plug and play character. If I was, let's do a period there. If I was aiming to get the highest stars on one vigilante member, it would have to be him. Okay. Boom. Publish. Okay. It's not equal value. It's just, okay. You know what I was trying to say, Ceci. It's a nice little thanks for the infographics is all it's supposed to be. All right, it was Hitmonkey, and the other one was Silver Sable. We don't have time for this, though. I'll do it in the background while we are watching the thing here. Silver Sable. Do we want to? You want me to pull their chat up? Oh, here we go.
Greetings, Commanders. Welcome to the Age of Annihilus Q&A. My name is Pathfinder, and I'm joined by our General Manager, Ryan Jacobson. We want to thank you for all of the questions that you submitted via our social channels, and we're very excited for the stream today to answer all of your questions. Before we get things off, I think we need to address the elephant in the room. So I'm going to pass it to RJ to talk a little bit about Overpowered.
Whoa!
Thanks. Yeah, I think definitely addressing the elephant in the room to start is probably best, right? We've heard the community, right? They've been pretty loud. They've been pretty vocal. We know what people are saying about Overpower right now as it exists. I would say they just have to give us a little bit of time, right? The system has just come into the game. It hasn't even been 7 days yet. We need to really look at the data to understand, is the system doing what we thought it would do? Is it more or less achieving the goals, not achieving the goals? And then we can really kind of come back and make a decision overall on what we want to do with it. I think hindsight's always 20/20. But I think looking back, I would have said we probably should have released the PvE side before the PvP side. And right now we are still going to be releasing the PvE side. But I would say there, what we're ultimately trying to do is really tune to kind of say like an Overpower 8 range. And so that the people who have invested in a lot of their characters past kind of 8, it's going to feel really great as you're going through a lot of that PvE content. So the more investment should feel really good, and also making sure that people don't feel like the content that we're putting out
it's not pre-recorded,
punishing them, right? So just going straight to the top and putting it at 10, which I think would be not well received, again, given the current sentiment that we're seeing on the kind of PvP side. But I would say as it is with everything, you know, give us a little bit of time so that we can assess the data. Like I said, it hasn't even been in the game for, 7 days. We need time to look at the data, understand how it's working, how it's not working versus our expectations, and then we'll work with the player council or all the groups, the community on kind of next steps forward, and then we can figure out what we want to do, if we want to communicate it, talk about it again, but just give us a little bit of time.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll make sure to let you guys know when the PvE portion is getting closer into the game. We'll have an announcement on that on marvelstrikeforce.com. And we're always monitoring all of the social channels, so don't feel like your voice isn't going unheard. We're definitely there, and we are.
This is what I just added was the streams
so,
chat.
Let's jump in, right? We're talking about the next age, the new age of Marvel Strike Force. We've collected questions from the community.
Whoa,
so
people didn't like that answer.
First question.
Y'all didn't like that answer. I know you didn't.
Will the chapters be like the showcases we have now, or will they be a different thing entirely?
The chapters themselves will be something very different entirely in terms of what we're really trying to do is take a little bit of content that, and putting a legendary on top of that wrapper, right? So being able to tell really a better arc and a better story, a better narrative of why is this legendary there? How does he fit in with a lot of the core loop? Also the teams that are coming in every single month. how do they play well, play nice together, or not play nice together, is what we're really trying to achieve, where I think showcases more or less are highlighting one team specifically. And what we're also looking at is, are showcases actually doing what we really intend or want?
Wasn't
them
a
to
vague
do? I
answer.
think
It
that's
was,
one of
we're
the
going to wait and
things
see
that
what's going to
when
happen.
we put in the game originally, it was more or less just, can we give some content for the new team coming into the game so that
Right.
players had an ability or a way to see them and kind of have some narrative around them. I don't know if it's necessarily doing all of the things that we would like it to do.
Okay, let me address that real quick. It wasn't a non-answer, guys. It was an answer saying, we are going to see what happens with Crucible this weekend. We're not caving to people who are just yelling right now, but they will, because this is having the impact a lot of you think it is. It's going to have to be changed.
Gonna be good in, and so that we can really showcase them in a better way, because that's really what the showcase should be, right? But I don't think that right now we are at a point where we want to stop where they're doing what they need to do, but more or less the chapter itself is going to be just a 3-month-long period where all of those newer teams that are coming in every single month are going to have an arc or a story that goes along with that legendary character that is inside of that chapter. And then who knows, maybe Annihilus is showing up as well and rearing his face, and then he's off into the distance again. But there's a lot more that we want to do in terms of just driving that immersion that I think sometimes our game does a really well job of, and then sometimes we fall a little bit flat. And I think that this chapter system allows us a lot
This
more
guy right
kind
here,
of,
he's got it,
area
this
to
guy.
play with to do some cool things.
Yeah, and is it still going to be kind of the, like, every time it's a campaign, like you're going through missions, or is there any, chance that we might even change that up?
I think there's always chances that we're going to change everything up, right? I just think we always think of, like, what is the best idea to try and, +1 what we've done prior. And so right now we are talking about kind of just the showcases themselves and campaigns. Is that the right way for us to always unveil content, or is there something else
get
that
'em,
we can
Sassy.
do?
Go
that,
get 'em.
There's so many systems in the game that we could potentially be pulling from. So there's nothing super concrete either which way that we want to go, but we just do know we want the showcases themselves to do a little bit more than what they're doing currently.
Yeah. Well, I think that kind of covers that question. Let's jump to the next one, which is when in May, because we've announced that it's in May, but when do you think in May the Age of Annihilus will actually begin?
Yeah, I don't like to put ourselves into corners sometimes, right? So when I give out specific dates, we're definitely held beholden to those dates. Early May is when we are
Early May,
really
okay.
aiming to get this thing ramped up. And
That's when we'll get
going.
our new stores. That's when we get
As
all
I
that stuff.
think we
Early
said
May,
on our
okay.
little videos we did earlier. There's a lot of people that are hard at work to make this into a reality. I don't think that people understand kind of the effort and the work that goes into what we're about to do. But right now, the ultimate goal is that we kick it off early in May. And then as things start to get into a better position where we can start to release kind of more of the feature plans that we have.
I
whether
said
that's
rework
around kind of
Hawkeye,
the
you
legacy
cowards.
shop,
There, it got
conversion,
automated.
All of those things
All
will
of you in
start
chat, go to their
trickling
chat
over
and say
time.
rework Hawkeye.
But we can't just
Go over there and say
on,
rework
on
Hawkeye.
this date, everything's going to go out. I wish that
Hawkeye
was the
rework
case.
when?
But
Hawkeye
unfortunately,
rework
there's
when?
a lot of work, but the Age itself will
Yeah.
start very early in May.
Yeah, and there's a lot of super passionate people that are working on this, and it's exciting to be in the final leg, right? Of it's almost here. We just got to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, I would say I'm really excited. Some of our
Volume up a little bit
developers
more?
maybe
Okay.
yes and no, depending on who you speak with, because it was a lot of work, right? It's a lot of effort, and we put it on the team very, very quickly. Kind of the turnaround and the ask there was, let's go get this done, and like, let's get it done now. And
Yeah.
instead of,
Get a
hey, let's
reset.
plan this out, and then let's take half a year to ensure that when we roll it out, it's going to be the correct way. We really wanted to kind of bookend it, right, with the Professor X conclusion, which put us into kind of a bind, right, because there is time now. And so there will be, Age of X will conclude, and then shortly after, we are jumping right into the Age of Annihilus.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Well, let's jump to the next question. We kind of talked, in our videos about legendary characters, but this question is, new legendary characters, how are they going to be acquired after their chapter's done? Will shards and like red stars be added to trials? What kind of method are we looking at as far as that goes?
Yeah, as we kind of talked about, we're still really figuring out the details, fortunately for us, we still have like 3 months, right, to kind of figure out the details behind the catch-up mechanic. We will put time, energy, and focus into the catch-up mechanic. We know that there's going to be players that are going to be coming in on, say, month 2 or month 3 of a given chapter. We don't want them to be at necessarily an unfair advantage, or just maybe you missed out for whatever reason, right, on this legendary character. But hopefully, of course, that doesn't happen
I was
with a
just
large portion of our audience.
with a couple of these guys,
But
and
what
I
we're
saw
thinking is that
in
more
these
or
clothes.
less,
This is live.
you will be
This
able
is just
to
like
earn
pre-recorded
shards of those characters in this catch-up mechanic, as well as the red stars. But I would definitely double, triple down on, you want to get the character inside of the chapter, because probably the investment that you're going to need to make for the catch-up mechanic is going to be greater than what you would need inside of the chapter.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
and
live. Yeah, they're not engaging
just for
chat.
the chat,
They should.
we're definitely live. We're going to answer
Thank
some
you, Pat.
questions at the end, so just
Thank
hang tight. We got a bunch of questions that we still got from all of our socials, so just hang tight. But let's move on to the next one. A lot of people are, we had Xavier, right? He's not necessarily a Dark Dimension. We've also had Odin, that was a Dark Dimension in the same year as Mephisto. So I think on a lot of people's minds, will
Here we go.
Annihilus be the next Dark Dimension reward, or will he have his own saga unrelated to Dark Dimension?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things there, right?
Here we go.
Because I remember in looking and talking to our player experience team, there was a lot of people that were just like, oh, they threw Odin in the game, that wasn't planned. And it was like, no, it was very much planned. We are always evaluating the content that we put out and kind of the way that our players engage with it to better understand, like, is it actually doing and serving the purpose that it's intended to do? And I think with Xavier, as you know, because you actually are well aware of what we're about to do with him, it is different than a traditional Dark Dimension, right? And so I do think that what we have to do is kind of wait, see how the community reacts to that content, the differences in the way that this conclusion to the Age of X is going to happen versus a traditional Dark Dimension, right? And so that we can then understand, like, are there different tweaks maybe we want to put on the way that Age of Annihilus is going to conclude, or do we want to go back to kind of the traditional Dark Dimensions, or do we actually really like what we're about to do with Xavier, and did the community also really like what we did with Xavier? So I think there's a little bit of time, fortunately for us, right? The conclusion of the Age of Annihilus is not going to happen until probably this time next year, right? So we have a lot of time to really better understand what we want to do there to achieve those goals. But I would say the first test will be kind of how the reaction is with the way that we're doing Age of X and the differences there versus a normal kind of traditional Dark Dimension.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be different than a Dark Dimension. I'm excited to see the reaction. So next question here, will this be a full team when done? I think kind of what that means is, how are the legendaries going to work? We've talked about how it's an APOC-like saga, right? However, I think a lot of people are familiar with, like, Morgan Le Fay went with Darkhold. Archangel went with his team. So how is that going to work together, and how are the pieces going to fit at the end of all of this?
This is important.
Yeah, so we definitely will have legendary characters that will be, stand out in a specific lane in terms of kind of their power and their viability inside of the lanes that, they're going to be more or less specific for. But as we talked about in the earlier video, and I think a lot of people were, somewhat confused when I was like, wait, a couple others? This team will have 3 legendary characters that will be coming in, right, for the 3-month kind of chapters that we're doing, with the conclusion of Annihilus. But we also know that a large portion of our audience is not really able to get through that content really quickly, right? So you're going to have these 3 legendary characters. You may not have Annihilus. So what are you doing with that quote-unquote team if you don't have Annihilus, right? You're kind of like not really necessarily utilizing them. So the way that we're currently thinking about it is that we are potentially going to find 2 characters that we feel good about, that we want to rework and put inside of that team, very similar to kind of what we did with Illuminati, right? Giving you a little bit more choice on how do you want to orchestrate that 5-person team, but also understanding that maybe a large portion of our audience might not have a nihilist right on day 1 or day 14 or even day 30 and beyond, but we want them to be able to play with all of these legendary characters that they were accruing over time, right, the last year. So the thought process is that we'll start to rework a couple of characters, and then they can go inside of that team so that you can actually use that team while you're trying to kind of push forward and hopefully get your hands on the nihilist.
That's a new way that we're going about it. That's pretty cool. Well, talking about going to the next question here, how will the teams that actually come in during the chapter, be required for
I'm so
the legendaries?
confused.
Like, how is that going to work?
Do the legendary
So
characters
it's
not
gonna
have
be
their
very
own
similar to the
team?
way that we do
So are these
content right
standalone
now,
characters?
right? In terms of
What's going on?
We have a core loop. We want you to always, of course, be,
Because the whole idea is you
unlocking,
don't want to
investing in
have
the latest and greatest and hoping.
The whole idea is you don't want to have to build these teams for that legendary, and then when Nihilus comes out, that team is thrown in the garbage. So are these legendary characters standalone?
That's a tower or some other limited content. Sometimes they come into the fold, right? In terms of kind of you really not necessarily must have those teams, but there's a benefit to having a lot of those newer teams. It will be very similar in a chapter where, as we talked about with the kind of seasonal shop, people are going to have more ability and access to characters much earlier on than they've ever had prior. So you're going to be able to kind of go in and make investments there. And then the other thing that we're looking at doing so that we're not
overpowered crowd is
necessarily going back to kind of Age of Apocalypse and some of the things
gonna
that we
get their
knew
way.
and lessons learned, right? Where you
Just
kind of
so it's
mentioned
aware, the
Dark Golden
overpowered,
and your
it's
random
gonna get
team where,
changed
you
for sure.
have to build up these very specific teams, very specific characters. What we're actually talking about right now is doing kind of a chapter trait. Right, so that inside of the chapter, all of these characters are going to have a chapter trait, and then as we're releasing content, there might be that chapter trait requirement, but it's not necessarily going to be super specific on necessarily a team, right? Where hey,
No, I
it
get
has to
that,
be, say,
Zad.
a
I'm talking about,
vigilante as an
does each
example,
legendary
but rather
character,
you
are
could
they
bring
standalone
in a few
characters?
of these teams into that content that we're going to be giving out inside of the
This
chapter
is live.
itself.
This
Okay,
is
so
live.
it's
They're gonna
more,
answer questions
it's
after this.
less about like hard requiring a
They've
team.
gathered
more about,
questions right now.
hey, we're gonna
That's what they're
open it up
answering. Then they're gonna do
to,
some live questions.
Maybe however many characters, right? But it's going to be more of a trait-based system.
Yeah, and that way I think, again, you as a player, there's still probably going to be advantages, right, to bringing in a specific team itself, but you as a player can make a choice of, no, I really want to invest heavily in this character on this team and then this other character
Operator.
on a very different
It's
team.
Operator.
But knowing that they have that chapter trait, you could actually start to try and push them into the content, whether that's, a Scourge, a Trial, whatever.
Yeah.
So that we're trying to provide more kind of player agency and player choice, which, as we've talked about, was one of the, I think, really valuable lessons that we learned inside of the Age of Apocalypse that maybe we could have done a better job on. So we're going to finick with things, right? We're going to kind of test some stuff out and see what works, what doesn't work. And then, as always, we'll kind of iterate until we get it right. But right now, the way we're looking at it is you're going to have a chapter trait.
Nice. Well, moving on here, the 3 legendaries that are going to be a part of each chapter, are those going to be required to get Annihilus at the end?
I don't think, again, like we haven't even gotten to that Annihilus content yet, right? The way I've been describing it to the team, the way I'm envisioning it in my head, is that they're not necessarily a requirement, quote unquote, but what I would like us to find a way to do is to somewhat accelerate you or get your foot through that door, right? So that I jumped through all the hoops that you guys wanted me to through this kind of each of these chapters I unlocked, I powered up all of these characters. How is it helping me to try and get some type of progress on Annihilus in some way, shape, or form? That's more or less the way we're thinking about. So I don't know if it will necessarily be a hard requirement or something you definitely will want to help you and incentivize you through that kind of first step or gates
that what it
through
was,
Annihilus. But in some way, we want the players to feel like their time, that investment that they put into the game and to help them or accelerate them in some way, shape, or form as they're trying to unlock Annihilus.
Gotcha. Well, moving on here, this next question is interesting. Does the team have plans to focus on long-term viability for required teams? Is there a plan to make sure required investments for ages are going to have like a longer-term payoff, just besides getting the legendary character?
Yeah, I think we always look at kind of the long-term viability of teams, and we try and make sure that, people's investments, whether that's through their time, through their money, goes as far and as it can, right,
Yeah.
in terms of just length. But also at the same time, we know that with the way that our kits
Oh, I
work
was
and the
removed.
abilities
Aw.
work, that sometimes there's always
Oh,
a
his
counter
left
to
testicle
an
powered.
existing team that is going to come out, and it's going to kind of knock them out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But we do want these characters that we're putting out right now, especially the legendaries, to last, you know, so that you feel good about that investment that you put into it. But with teams, we are always looking at kind of how long should this team be viable in their lane. And I mean, for me personally, there's still a lot of older teams that I use daily that I get a lot of value out of. So we're always trying to make sure that as players are pushing and trying to push for that investment, that their investment goes as far as we can make it go. Right?
Yeah. Well, this next question might be, you know, a little bit of a teaser, if you will, but will the Fantastic Four be a requirement in the Age of Annihilus?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The Fantastic Four.
Bio rating.
If we didn't do anything with them,
Bio
given,
rating.
you know, how much hype is going around right now with the upcoming movie and the cast and everything that
rating.
they're doing. For us, there's a lot that we're actually doing on kind of the UA creative side that we're already starting to get ahead of, that I'm very excited about.
Yes, I've seen some of those. They look pretty cool.
It's going to be fun, man. It's going to be really, really fun. So yes, I think, you know, the Fantastic Four will 100% be a part of the Age of Annihilus again. I think that would be a massive miss on our behalf if, number one, we didn't have them come in,
Right.
you know, with the Fantastic Four movie, but also Annihilus is just, he pairs so well to the Fantastic Four. That's, again, one of the main reasons that we actually chose him for this upcoming Age. So yeah, you will definitely see some Fantastic Four this year.
Very cool. And that movie's coming up soon, so it should be
Real soon.
a good time.
Yeah. Speaking of movies, you got a little shirt on there.
Thunderbolts. Really excited for
I
that.
wonder if
too.
that's like a mini spoiler tease right there.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
No.
Maybe chapter 1. Who knows?
Who knows?
Could be.
You fucking dorks. You already told us when the team was coming in when we voted for every single member of the team. You fucking dorks. Talk about Fantastic Four more.
It's a team that I really resonate with, so I'm looking forward to that movie. But yeah, I would hope that something happens within the game. You know?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe everybody voted on it too.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, we'll jump in here to the next one. It might be a little bit early, but how is Annihilus going to be able to actually take on Odin and Mephisto? I mean, they're so powerful in this game. Is there a new mechanic we can expect with him?
Just
How's
forgetting Professor X.
Again, like Annihilus is, you know, he's a year out. We always put, and I mean, our character and combat team does an amazing job with kind of the abilities and the kits that they put together with any character, but let alone kind of what we call the T0 characters. They put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy into those. So I would be shocked if there was not a new mechanic when Annihilus comes out that he is countering something that is very important and critical in kind of the current meta at that time.
Yeah, and every time we have one of these really big chase characters, the meta just shifts, you know, drastically around them. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, with all the mechanics that we have now, what is that new mechanic going to be? You know, like it's going to be
that will
something
probably
powerful.
make my head explode.
Well, we're going to shift a little bit here to kind of talking more about like economy type questions. So what's the plan right now for gold and training material availability?
Yeah, so I think everything that we've kind of said that's in the legacy or what will become the legacy shop. So your current shops that you see today, nothing's going away. What we want to do is inside of the seasonal shop, put more valuable items than we've ever been able to before. So the plan is that, yeah, you're going to see training mats, you're going to see gold, you're going to see a lot of those things come in. But we still are working out, of course, the details on
Gold,
kind of
training materials,
what does that
good.
look like and what's it going
Good.
to cost. But yes, we know that a large portion of the community right now is screaming for, you know, training mats, specifically L4s. And so, yeah, we're looking at kind of like how do we make sure that we're meeting our players' demands.
Good.
Yeah, and I think in general, right, you know, people have been kind of referencing like the current Xcoin store. Like, is it going to be, you know, very similar to that? Like, I think a lot of people really like that there's G20 in that.
Yep.
But it seems like, you know, our plan is really to have like it be much more than just one lane, right?
Oh yeah, much more. I think the hope, right, from me as kind of the player is that I'm going in there and I have so many great things that I want to be purchasing and buying that I actually don't know where to use that currency, right? I'm actually having a debate with myself. Like, am I buying gear tier 20? Am I buying training mats? Am I buying these latest and greatest characters? Am I buying awakened abilities? Like, what am I buying?
Yeah.
And that's ultimately the goal of this shop. And so, yeah, we want to make sure that, to your point, the way that our kind of current shops have worked is it's been more or less tuned to kind of one, maybe two specific things that are of really great value to the community. But what we're trying to do with the seasonal or chapter shops is really make it so that there is a ton of value in those shops that you are really excited for every day going in there and spending some hard-earned currency.
Okay.
Yeah.
The training
Well,
materials should
moving
still be
on
in
here,
the
talking
legacy
about
store, 'cause
currencies,
we have them in the
you know,
arena
which
store, right?
currencies are we going to be able to convert? And I could probably speak to this a little bit. You know, in our recent blog and our video, we talk about all these different currencies. We do have.
Do we have a lot of currencies in the game?
We have, I would say, a significant amount of currencies right now. And there are, of course, some that we really can't like convert right now, right? I mean, you're talking about like the costume shop. There really isn't a way to convert those credits.
Nope.
You know, the elite store, there really isn't a good way to, you know, convert that stuff because there's stuff in there right now.
That's correct.
So where are we at as far as like currencies that we plan to convert? And I know that, you know, timelines are kind of up in the air, but if you can address any of that.
Yeah, well, I'll throw it
Professor
back
X
to you. I'll
is
let you
one
talk
shot or
about
nothing.
the actual
You won't need
currencies,
health packs
right,
at all.
that we know we're going to be converting. But I think to answer one of your other kind of comments was we know the costume shop isn't really adding the value that I think we would like to. And there's so many rad costumes, right, that even me as a player that came in later on after the game had started,
Is there, though?
that I never had access to. And so one of the plans as we go into these kind of ages is to revitalize that costume shop and start to make sure that it is refreshed much more frequently than it has been
Put more stuff
in the
in it.
past, so that you can go in there and start to use probably some of the currency that you've built up and you're just kind of waiting for something to drop in that shop. And I think we also have some great plans for kind of some more future costumes that we're going to be building out this year. But yeah, I don't know if you want to touch on the actual currencies
So
themselves.
in the blog, right, we're currently looking at like Arena, we're looking at Blitz, which also includes those gear credits. We're looking at the War store, we're looking at, you know, even potentially Cosmic Crucible store as well. And so, you know, I think at least like V1, right? That's kind of the plan, to merge all of those into this legacy currency and then move forward from there.
That's correct. And I mean, everything you just mentioned is a lot for us to kind of just start with. And then over time, we'll start to really evaluate kind of the existing shops and those currencies and the value that they're still adding, so that we can kind of make updates or changes to them as needed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, moving on here, continuing to talk about currency, we're talking about the Legacy Store. How will players earn currency to purchase items in the Legacy Store after that
Okay, this is a
initial
good question.
conversion happens?
Good question. This is one
Yeah,
of mine.
after the initial conversion happens, there still will be, because as we thought about this, right? Like a lot of the times when you're doing design, you're thinking of kind of the current players, the current player base, which are more or less a lot of what we call, you know, kind of end game or tip of spear players that have been probably playing this game for 7 years, but we still are bringing in new players every single day, and we want them to, of course, be part of these chapters and kind of the age. We're trying to really accelerate them into it, but there's still going to be sort of quote unquote left behind with a lot of the items that maybe are of great value to them in those legacy shops, right? And they won't necessarily have access to that currency anymore, right? So we want you to be able to convert your seasonal currency or your chapter currency into a legacy currency if you so choose, so that you can still have a lot of player choice, player agency around what are you actually buying with kind of the currencies that you've earned. I think there's also a longer term kind of thought or initiative that we have to look into and explore of how do we make sure that the players who are coming in are having
Oh,
some
no.
exposure to that legacy currency in some way, shape, or form, so that they are starting to accrue or build up a wallet, so that they can kind of spend on that the legacy items without having to potentially use their seasonal currency on that or their chapter currency.
Okay, so we're looking at more of a, convert it at your own risk right now, at least short term.
Yeah, short term. Again, like there's so many things that we're doing right now. So we just want to get
So you
this
can convert
out,
it. Okay.
get it into our players' hands, and then we can start to iterate, which is one of the Scopely tenets, iterate to greatness. We can
I'm missing the stream because I'm reading the
continually
chat.
iterate
It's
on
so
the way that
spicy.
This will feel for newer players coming in, because we also don't want them to feel bad and have to make that choice, right? Where I could be buying potentially these really great new teams or the latest and greatest in terms of gear tier or whatever it might be, and now have to go potentially convert that into a currency to go buy some really old gear as an example.
Gotcha.
So we were thinking about that.
Well, moving on here, and I think this next question is going to be pretty quick because we've kind of addressed it a little bit, but which shops will actually be going away? Talking about the different mode stores, gold store, elite store, ultra store, ISO store. I think for the most part, like all of those are, the gold store is going to continue to be
Yes.
there because there are still things in there that you might want to purchase. The elite store, we're not going to be doing anything with that, at least for right now.
That's correct.
ISO store, again, there's not really a way to, purchase ISO outside of a campaign other than in that store, so that's going to stay. So I think we can kind of, hit on that one. If we ever have any updates in the future, we'll definitely communicate that out through our channels. But kind of moving on to the next question here, which is, will Crimson Gear, so talking about G19, G20, additional training materials beyond what's currently in the Arena shop become available in the Legacy shop?
Yeah, over time they will. We
time.
always want the latest and greatest to be in the chapter shop, right?
Yeah.
But
Your
over
G19
time, the
should be
legacy shop will improve, right? Now, we're not going to set anything in stone on kind of dates, right? Because then again, we'll be beholden to that. But
Trading materials
the
are
plan
currently
would
in the
be
Arena
that
store. They
as
should stay
things,
there.
age or kind of age out of being kind of the most relevant thing that our players need, they will eventually start to hit that legacy shop, and then a lot of players will still have a pretty significant balance that they can spend on a lot of those items.
Yeah, and at this point, we're talking initial conversion happens. You're looking at like minimum 3 months before anything really would even move into there. Could even be longer.
That's correct, and I think for some of those items, it will probably be longer. I think one of the things we're really looking at trying to do is make sure that the characters start to move into the shops, both shops, really early, but then they'll also probably hit the legacy store earlier on than they ever have before, in terms of you being able to really try and power up a lot of those characters.
Yeah, which is, I think that's a really big win as far as characters being available sooner.
Yeah, I think the chapter shop, the seasonal shop. I can guarantee that
ads
they
off
will
on
be the
Twitch.
earliest that players have ever seen them, in terms of your ability to go in and start trying to unlock or power up those characters.
Well, moving on here, talking about the Intel store, which is the seasonal store. Is there going to be a weekly or monthly cap on Intel? I think as far as like how much you can earn, also like how much you can actually buy in those stores.
Yeah, so as we kind of noted, the currency is not going to be something that we sell, right? So if you look at kind of like you were mentioning a second ago, X coins right now, you can go in, you can buy just a direct offer of X coins. That is what we mean by we are not going to be selling this currency.
Yeah, I feel like everything
the cap
is just
would
kind
really
of
be
stuff we
based
assume.
off of your engagement, right? Like there's not going to be necessarily like, hey, we're going to cap you at 1 million credits or whatever it is, right? It's going to be more or less how engaged with the game are you in terms of the core lanes, the core modes, but then also the core loop, right? Which will have a lot of this currency and be feeding this currency based off of a lot of the activities. So say, hypothetically, there's Cosmic Crucible team that's coming out, and maybe we're really incentivizing you to engage with Cosmic Crucible as a mode. You potentially are getting toppers, right, in terms of like more of that seasonal currency as you're playing through the loop. So really the way that you would be quote unquote capped is based off of your own engagement inside of the game.
Yeah, and I know that, you know, we've even talked about, or, you know, had some discussions around other possible ways, you know, that we're going to give out currency, like whether it's from the community team or, you know, something else, right? So should be interesting to see how much currency we actually get. And yes, to address the chat, we are still live. We are still humming along here. We'll definitely get to questions soon. We still have a few more to get through here. So next question, I think we kind of already hit on how to earn the new currency, right? Like through engagement, through the different game modes. I think we can probably, you know, table that one for now.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you're going to earn it. So yeah, I would agree.
So moving along here, why can I not actually, not me specifically, but why can't I purchase Intel? Like what is the decision behind that?
For me, it was just more or less wanted to create a system that was really rewarding time and engagement, which I think is really the most valuable thing we all have. And to try and create more of a level playing field in terms of the ability to earn this currency and not making it so that, you know, spenders had this great advantage over potentially a low spender or a free-to-play player, but rather, no, if you're engaging in the game, you all are earning potentially the same amount of currency, and all the items in the shop are, you know, for everyone. So really just trying to bring back really a reason and a want and a desire to play the core lanes again, the core modes, and then engaging in the core loop is really ultimately why we made that choice.
Okay, so it's going to be less about you know, your ability to spend your way through something, more about, hey, I really have to play the game. I have to spend time, which is obviously incredibly valuable. Yep. So, well, let's move on here. Are you going, are we going to rework rewards from the different game modes, such as War, CC, Raids, with everything now being tunneled into that? How is some of that going to work?
Yeah, so we're looking at all the lanes and all the modes and kind of understanding what the current rewards are and which ones do we want to rework. And I think, again, with this system, what one of the benefits is that we can kind of assess how well or maybe not well it's working, and then after a chapter concludes, we can kind of make changes, right, to the way that those rewards are going to be distributed. But yeah, we're reevaluating all of the lanes, all of the rewards inside of the lanes, and what those purposes are and what you're going to be getting from them.
Okay, well, you know, moving on here, what are we going to do with the stores that are not actually a part of the supply shop? I think we kind of hit on that earlier in another question. So we can probably move on from that one as well. Can we continue to open currency orbs? And are we going to be able to do that with the new supply currency, like the new legacy currency? Or how's that going to work as far as orbs go?
Yeah, same. It will be basically the orbs that will be converted over into the legacy shop. You'll be able to use that new currency and start to basically be able to purchase them and then open them up.
Okay.
Next question. Let's go. I like that answer. That was a good answer. Keep those answers. Let's go.
I think we're going to open it up to the chat here. And
I have to go get my son now. This is bullshit.
As far as what they want to know about the next stage of Annihilus. So we're going to open it up to you. We're going to see some of these questions that pop in, and we'll be making sure to answer those at the end of this here.
I wonder if there's a question about your mustache.
I hope not. I hope not.
What product do you use?
It's like a Amish.
Honest Om?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
that one.
I use the same one.
All right, so I saw Dorky Dad had a question. Are the legendary characters actually going to have their own team, or are they going to be standalone?
The legendary characters will basically form one team.
Before that, though.
That's how we're looking at it right now. So a little bit different than APOC, where like you kind of described Morgan Le Fay, right, or Red Hulk. There's pros to that for sure, but we also know that the duration of time that's going to take you to earn those legendary characters and then fully power them up, you would have to basically be in the next chapter for them to be in included in a team that made sense.
I gotta get my kid.
But we've already
for the
sort of
road.
moved on to.
I'm
a
gonna
new
leave the stream
legendary
going so I have it
character,
recorded and I can
we
watch it
really are
later.
just trying to make sure that
I'll be
they're
right
going to
back.
be very functional in very specific lanes, but then they will all come together in the end.
Okay. Okay, very cool. We got a question here. How and when will we announce the 3 legendary characters? So I could probably take this one. I think one of the 3 legendary characters is going to be announced very soon.
Yeah, like next week, right?
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. As far as the other characters, I think we leave it up to speculation. I mean, we're still quite a ways out.
We're definitely a ways out. I always spoil so much stuff, or tease stuff, so I will bite my tongue and not spoil the announcement next week. But I would say, in looking at a lot of the kind of content creator comments, whether that was inside of their videos or YouTube comments, or even some of the stuff that I've seen in Reddit around the speculation of certain characters, I would say some people have a good idea and are kind of spot on, and then others, I would say, are very far off from some of the characters that we've chosen. So I would say there are some people who are right in some of their assumptions, and then there's some people who I would say, no, you're very far off on who we've
and I
selected.
know we are going to, if we don't already, have a poll going on as far as who you think the next legendary character is. We had some discussions on the Discord as far as like who could it be, and then we put it in a poll like who do you actually think is the first one going to be?
You're a silly goose.
I saw some really interesting
You're a
ones,
silly
so we'll have to
goose.
see if
What
they
was
get
like
it
the
right.
You're a
most interesting
silly
one, do you
goose.
remember?
Oh man, I think the most interesting one to me was Blue Marvel.
Marvel's a rad
That was a really interesting one to me. I've also seen a lot of like a Johnny Storm or like a Reed Richards type of character. So
Interesting.
it's going to be interesting to see what they say.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a good plug right there for if people haven't already. They should be doing the current vote that's up, because I think that's a really exciting one, at least from my perspective. I love Cable, but I also am like, I don't know if I really want to see a zombified Cable, but seeing like a zombie Squirrel Girl or a zombie Cosmo, in my opinion, like it's a debate every day when I go into the vote of like which one of those two I'm voting for.
I know where my vote's going, but I don't want to spoil it too much. But I will say that we are going to learn about the new character, but you're also going to learn the kit of the new character next week. So I'll play spoiler a little bit. That's not a huge spoiler, but you will learn what this character is going to do next week as well. Got a good question here. Will Annihilus be plug and play since he has a team, or will he more fit into his team? I know that that's pretty far out, but
yeah, it's really far out. I would say plug and play characters.
And
There's
I
so
would
much
like to say,
complexity there,
from
right,
the
in
bottom
terms
of my
of
heart, from the
we know they add a
deepest,
lot of value
darkest,
to the players and them
despair-filled
being able
part
to
of my
really
heart,
utilize them in a
fuck
lot
you,
of lanes.
Scopely.
It also has drastically changed kind of the complexity in modes like War, right? And probably not in really the most positive way. So we are trying to move more or less away from true, what I would say, quote unquote, is plug and play characters. But with that being said, I've never seen any of our T0s not be plug and play, and I don't.
Don't look at it!
think
Don't
we're
look at it! Oh no! I didn't see it! I didn't see it!
awesome. Let's see here. Looking at the chat. Have a question on Dark Diamonds. I don't know if that necessarily fits in to the next stage, but are we going to be doing anything different with Dark Diamonds DPCs right now?
No, not right now. I mean, the plan is that it's kind of its own little separate kind of economy. We're going to try and leave it alone. Do I think there's still a lot we're figuring out in terms of how long should a character exist at a certain price for the DPCs, and when should we be potentially adjusting or lowering those? I think also with like OML and understanding when can you actually get diamonds for that character, and Shadow King, we want it to be more of something that the community is well aware of those timelines, and especially with these legendary characters, that's what we're also working on right now, so that it's very clear to the community when you potentially would start to see them show up in various shops, etc.
Okay. The next one here I see for DJ NXT level. Can we have player voting input for the 2 characters that will be reworked to go with the new legendary character? That's an interesting one.
Maybe.
Don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah,
but
the honest answer is we think really far ahead in terms of like what we want to do in the game. You know, I'm working right now with the group on kind of the next age already, right? And what that's going to be and who that potentially is going to be. And there's going to be choices that we have to make once we've determined that that is going to be the next age. So yeah, let me get back to the group and we can see if we could do that. I think it'd be really fun. I just think that the characters that we have to kind of select from are already somewhat limited in terms of kind of the power that these people are going to need to have.
I feel like I can already, you know, hear the combat team screaming into their computer right now of, what do you mean we're going to vote?
Yeah, hopefully they're just not watching right now, right? That's the true, honest answer. Right?
All right, next question here. Is the narrative for the Age of Annihilus going to be as cinematic as the Age of Apocalypse?
Well, in all honesty, I hope it's more, right? I think that's what we're trying to deliver against. That's why when we thought of these changes, that sense of kind of immersion that we really want to deliver on. And again, like our groups already do an amazing job, right? Like what we call our missions team that provides a lot of the content and the narrative that they have already is great. Now, do I always kind of want to one-up that? Yeah, I definitely do. And so the hope is by us already kind of saying, hey, it's the Age of Annihilus, we want to bring him into the fold much earlier on, right? With like Xavier as an example, yes, you knew he was there, but he wasn't really part of the story and the story that we were creating throughout the year.
Really?
It was these little bits and characters that would come in that would ultimately come into the Age of X. And what we want to do differently is be able to play with these characters and tell a different story arc, right? So maybe there's a world, like I said, where Annihilus is coming in real early, right? Now, you may not, as a player, be able to get your hands on him, but he may be able to get his hands on you.
I remember some of the cinematics when Apocalypse was just coming out. One of my favorite ones was when Rogue and Gambit were fighting. And all of a sudden, like, you know, Shadow appears, Morgan Le Fay comes in and, like, takes Rogue, and then Apocalypse comes in, also takes and like converts Rogue into, you know, the dark version of Rogue that we got. I have to expect that there will be some similar things that we do as far as cinematics go.
I totally agree, and I think, you know, the internal group that we get to work with that puts a lot of those creatives together, they do really an amazing job. I mean, we have so many people that really
no plans to
love the ability to kind of, you know, create the content around the IP and the characters and really bring them to life. And so, yeah, I think our hope is that we're really going to make this age, and again, over time, because there's already so much we're trying to do, that as we're moving into, say, Chapter 2, you're going to notice changes, and then by hopefully the time we get to Chapter 3, you're really going to feel that sense of immersion. And then I think we're going to learn a lot from this current age of the things we want to do different for even the next stage, right? And so that we're already going to, again, continually try and one-up ourselves. But my hope would be that, like, the next stage, you know, day 0, you come into the game, you're going to be like, oh my God, this is, I feel like I'm immersed in this world.
That's awesome. Quick thing, we're going to have a little bit more time for some additional questions to continue to address the chat. Yes, we are absolutely live. We did talk about Overpower at the beginning, so I just want to reiterate, you know, that part again. You know, we're definitely taking a look at the data. It's a little too early to tell right now as far as, you know, what's going to happen with Overpower, but we are definitely keeping an eye on all of the feedback that you guys are giving us on all of our channels. So just want to make sure that that's addressed. If you joined late, I know not everybody was here at the beginning. So let's jump back in here. We got another question. When you say the Fantastic Four will be required, are we talking like legacy Fantastic Four characters that are in the game?
Good question.
Or are we talking strictly new?
I think we always try and utilize a mix of both. So will there be new characters? Yes. Will there be reworks of existing characters? Yes. I would also say, this is why I should never do these things, because like the character and combat team is going to be like, dude, just shut up.
Don't shut up.
There's
Leak it.
certain characters we've already done.
Oh yeah.
Reworks of,
Yeah.
right?
3.
Yeah. and
3 so
there's-
far.
I was going to say, and there's one we have not done.
Yeah, there is.
Johnny
So
Storm rework
I would highly
confirmed!
speculate
Let's
that
fucking go!
Maybe that character is one of the ones we
Let's fucking go!
Interesting.
Where's my LD player?
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
go
we have
max him
Invisible
out
Woman.
right now.
You
Just
do.
got reworked.
Yep.
Thing's been reworked.
Yep. Mr. Fantastic Four. Mr. Fantastic instead
Guess,
of the
guess that
Illuminati.
only leaves the one.
Yep. So there is one.
There's your spoiler for anybody wondering.
Yeah. I would guarantee I'm just getting slacks right now.
Yeah, we definitely we can see Stark in the chat saying no more spoilers. Let's see, we got a comment here about moments introduced in the new age. I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, Moments is a feature we
The
started
maker.
when we really started Battle World, and the hope was that those two tied well together.
And moments.
Moments in the end just wasn't going to serve the purpose that we needed to, and felt like it would accomplish the goals that we had for it. So Moments as it stands right now is just kind of put in an icebox, quote unquote, where we would like to figure out a way to bring it into the game. But the way that we
Why
built
Sonic
it
went crazy?
back then, it doesn't make sense. So some way, shape, or form, that feature will probably morph, and I don't think it would necessarily even be called Moments if it comes into the game. But yeah, Moments right now, we had a high expectation for it, but the way that we would have delivered it to the players would not have been in a way that I think would have been positively received and really done the job that we had hoped for it. So
choice of
right now,
words.
Moments
Poor
is
choice of words.
something that it won't be coming out anytime soon.
Okay. Well, we have a question from Loki Destroys 11. How do you decide the next age after Annihilus? And I feel like I'll add a little bit to that question. Like, what actually goes in to a decision like this, right? Like, this is a game-changing decision that we're doing. So what actually, like, what goes into that?
Opinions? A lot of
A lot of
them?
opinions?
There's a small group of us that
Not roguelites. No. Moments.
we all
goes in,
have
Mozi.
a lot of
Moments.
conversations around what
Roguelike
our
is
ideas
still
are.
coming.
Right now, we still, again, we're working with an amazing IP, right? Marvel, and Marvel has been really great to us in terms of the flexibility that they give us in allowing us to really utilize just every character that they have, more or less.
question, Evil,
But I
Yoshi,
would say
Shades,
ultimately at the end of the day, sometimes there's just really loud voices in a small room, and sometimes I have a pretty loud voice, and then there's our combat lead, who also is very opinionated on things, and so we go back and forth a lot on kind of what we want to accomplish. But I would say 95% of the time we're pretty much aligned on kind of the characters, and especially when it comes to an age, the characters we want to bring into the game. And I think the same goes for Battle World, right? Like, Battle World is an area, like a sandbox for us to really bring in super powerful characters that maybe aren't strong enough for an age, or maybe we just want to get them into the game sooner than it would take for an age, because an age is a year long. So we're always, I think, having more, I would say, like detailed conversations around those two buckets, more than just kind of a typical team.
Okay. I saw a question from Big Positive Geek in the chat that I wanted to address because I thought it was interesting. Do we have any plans for another MSF original character?
Yeah, we always want to do those. There's a lot of work that goes into
Somebody
creating
asked if
an
there's gonna be a
MSF
mythical
original
character in
just
between
again
now
because
and
of it
Nihilus.
is really an
In the same
IP,
vein as Odin. Ask that. Spam that
you know,
question.
isn't ours. so
Will
we
there
can't
be
just
another
do whatever
mythical
we want with
character
it.
in between
Marvel's
now
been really
and
great to us
Annihilus?
in terms of
like
giving us
Odin
a lot
was?
of that creative flexibility, but we always know that they need to really serve a purpose and can't just be us on a whim creating this idea of like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a really cool concept. It's kind of like, well, look at how many characters we already have existing
Yeah.
in this universe. There's nothing that fits that mold. So we have to really dig
might get an
deep in
answer.
terms
If
of
enough people ask, it will get an
finding
answer.
the reason why
like 50 of you ask
Marvel
right now,
will
they'll have to
allow
answer it.
us to potentially create a character that they don't already have existing. in
Yeah,
that
it has to be
universe.
compelling, right? There has to be a good reason
Yeah.
to create this character. And I mean, I don't know if it actually goes into the Marvel universe or not. Like, does that actually happen?
They
Thank you,
are
Nick.
canon, but they're not necessarily, in comic books or the MCU or quote unquote, but they are part of their universe once we create one.
Okay, very cool. Let's see here. We have, I don't want to get too off topic, but we've seen a couple questions on roguelike. Do we want to say too much about that?
No, and that's not because I don't want to talk about roguelike. I am one of the people that every time I see an update by the group that's working on it, I get really excited.
Yep.
And I love this style of game and kind of the puzzles and the challenges that it presents. I mean, you and I were actually talking about this last night,
Yep.
right? I am beyond excited for roguelike and kind of what I think it can hopefully, do for the game and really creating a differentiated experience for our players. But I also really don't want to take the thunder away from the
yeah.
lead designer
Yep.
who's working on this, and I know you're going to be doing a strike spot with
Yep,
them
we're gonna
really
do an
soon.
interview.
And I think
Really
he
soon.
is so passionate
Oh, yeah.
about this work and what he's doing,
dude.
and not,
Yeah.
of course, everyone else in that group as well. But I really don't want to take anything away from
Yeah.
that interview that you're going to do with him.
And I know that we can't, explain everything, to players about, how stuff, like how the sausage is made, right? But seeing what he's been able to do with this and the speed at which he's been able to do it
Yep.
has just been
mind-blowing.
incredibly impressive to me. Like just getting the details on like what has to actually happen, right? Definitely has just impressed me.
He's a very technical designer who, the passion of a lot of the people that are on our team, it's so clear, and it just makes me super excited and super proud to be able to work with people that
Yep.
care this much about the product and play the product every single day and want to do the best for the community.
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to when you guys connect and do that strike spot. But
It'll be good.
I definitely don't want to steal anything.
I told him that we need to do an interview, and then if we can swing it, we need to do a live playtest. So we're gonna see if that can happen.
Make it happen.
It's
Make it happen.
adventurous, but we're gonna try.
Also, a spoiler is he's actually in the game.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people know that.
Hercules.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have time to answer like one or two more questions. Before we do that, we do have a promo code. We want to make sure that you are, absolutely rewarded for your time that you spent watching this stream. So, Lord Annihilus is the promo code. I do want to say that you're going to have to put all caps when you put it in on the web, but make sure that you go and claim that. There's some pretty good stuff in that promo code. So,
Are you just spell it out for him?
No. I even have it up, and I don't even want to mess with it. I've been looking at the word Annihilus too many times this week. I don't want to misspell it. All right, well, a couple more questions here. We got a good question. When can players expect to get their hands on the next legendary, like actually unlock the legendary that you're going to find out about next week?
Yeah, chapter 1.
Chapter 1, which is going to start
In May.
Yep. And I mean,
And then inside of
Whoa!
month 1,
Are these?
depending on,
Not
again,
what I
your
thought they were.
engagement,
Okay.
Yep.
you
It's a good
should be
promo
able
code.
to
It's a good
unlock
promo
that
code.
character really early.
Yeah.
And is it like I know previous legendaries, like you're talking about Scourges and Trials, like they kind of unlocked at a lower star, yellow star. Is that going to be
Pretty much
similar with this?
Very similar. yeah.
Okay.
We want you to feel like you're powering up this legendary character throughout the chapter, and then when you're walking away from the conclusion of the chapter, you are like, wow, this character feels really strong versus, when that unlock happened. And
Yep.
especially if you're going through the Scourges and the Trials and getting the red stars on them, they're going to feel good.
For sure. I see some questions in the chat that I just don't know if I'm comfortable repeating, but I definitely see them, and it's giving me a bit of a chuckle right now. All right, well, I think that we're gonna be time unless I get any more questions that are coming in right now. Let's see, our teal L5 training mats in the works. I don't know about that one.
I mean, there's always content or kind of the vertical extensions that we are always doing.
Yeah.
So yes, everything is always in the works, but that's like also saying like your tier 21 is in the works, and
Yeah.
it's like yes, but it's
At
also,
some point,
yeah,
maybe at some
it's
point.
not tomorrow. I'll guarantee that.
No, I definitely see you T-Dats. I love Cersei. I saw somebody post that as well if you've ever seen any of my streams. But I think we're gonna wrap it up here. There's still a lot
Nobody
of
asked the question
information
enough.
to come the rest of this month. This is really only the first big week of the next age.
I was given a
of
challenge.
Marvel
If I coulda
Strike
got
Force.
50
So we have a
DMs, we would've
lot
answered.
of things planned.
Wasn't allowed
I
to tell you
know
until
that
now.
we
Oh.
have an interview that you also did with Rich coming up that we're going to talk about some pretty
just kidding.
interesting
No one gave me
stuff.
that
So,
challenge.
you know, spoilers, not spoilers for
But
that.
enough of you asked, it
there's
would've
there's some
happened.
cool,
I
there's some cool
guarantee
things you
you.
talk
Yeah, I
about.
think there's like a lot of exciting things that are happening that a lot of people are unaware of that we've been working on as well. That I'm when that video gets out, hopefully people get excited about some of the other things we haven't been very vocal about.
Okay. Well, do you want to leave? Let's leave with you. Like, make a final statement here. We'll wrap up.
I don't do parting words well.
Just drop a spoiler.
I think, you know, for us, it's always hopefully what the community is seeing us trying to really be much more transparent
Yeah.
with them than we've ever been in the past.
You
And
guys
I
don't.
think
You won't believe this.
really
but it's
what
true.
we tried setting
What he's
up,
saying
right,
is
with
true.
a lot of those mini videos, and then ultimately concluding here today is that ages is a really big change.
Yeah, it's
for
a big
this
moment
game.
for
yeah.
us.
And we want people to really know that there was a lot of kind of deep thought that went into this around the why, but really trying to benefit all of our players and
Yep.
all of our player types is really ultimately the goal that we're aiming and striving for. And so I'm really excited to start this kind of next, you know,
Yeah.
age inside of Marvel Strike Force. And then I think this year, there's so much in our roadmap right now
Yep.
that there's a lot of excitement, I would say, internally.
Hopefully we can
about
share
what we're-
more of
yeah,
that
Yeah,
soon.
what we're doing. And so hopefully, you know, as we get further along, we'll be able to really communicate some of that stuff out. But I would
They
also just
absolutely
end with,
did,
you know,
X.
we really do value a lot of our community and our community's perspective and their viewpoints. And like we started out with kind of with Overpower, it's not falling on deaf ears, right? Like
No,
we
and it's from a place of passion
Sessy's
for the
going
game,
crazy.
right?
Yeah. Sessy's gotta
Which
get
is
better.
just such a nice. It's even if it's not, you know, always great or, you know, whatever at the time, it's still coming from a place of passion for the love that they have for not only, you know, Marvel Strike Force, but Marvel in general, which is just such a big IP.
Yeah, such a rad thing, right? To be as fortunate as we are to work on this IP, I feel very blessed every day. And I think, as always, we're
Their
going to
intention
continue
is
to
to give an
talk
advantage
and
for
work
people
with
that
the
spend
player
the most. That's
council, which
clearly
we
their intention.
are always engaging
Right?
with and trying to make sure that
They
they're
want to
aware
see
of
how
anything and
big
everything
of a
we're
gap
doing.
has
But
it made. And if
no, I
it's too big to tone
appreciate,
it
you know,
down.
anyone that came to check this out and
Yeah,
watch it,
absolutely.
and hopefully they
I
found
mean,
it
I don't
informative
expect
and got
expect
some
answers to
good
stupid
information
questions.
out of it, and then appreciate you doing
Yeah.
this with
No,
me.
I mean,
and
that's
this
an
is my
obvious
first
thing.
one,
We
so
don't
I
need
had
the
no
answer.
idea
We
what to
know that.
Maybe we can
so-
do more in the
What
future.
we
We'll
want to
see.
know
we'll see. Yeah,
is, are they
exactly.
going to tone it down because
Uh,
our
but
perception is that
Thank
it's too
you
much.
all for
And we're
joining
right.
us.
And they will
for
tone it
Strike
down. They're going to
Spot,
have to.
and
This week's
we will
Crucible
see
is going to
you
be
very soon.
crazy. I need Ceci here ASAP. I'm sure he's gonna come back. That was certainly a stream. I feel like we learned a couple cool things. We learned that Fantastic Four there's a Fantastic Four team coming, and it's gotta be the BioRay team, right? For sure, it's gonna be the BioRay team because it fits so well with what we need. Human Torch rework, that's big. Legendary, we're gonna learn next week. That's fun. Next week's kind of big. You guys haven't seen the blog yet, but next week is a pretty big week. What else did we learn here today? We learned a couple things. Not much else. If we're being for real. Here, hold on. Let me get this on the right screen just so I can talk over something that makes somewhat sense. I don't think it was as bad as you guys thought. This was not an overpowered stream. This was a stream about the seasons and Annihilus and stuff like that. And they clarified on some things. I think their blogs did a better job conveying everything. I'm curious if we're going to get a blog on the questions answer here. I don't know why they would. We have the Friday blog coming, right? We learned there were lots of toddlers throwing a fit about overpowered. We definitely learned that. I mean, it's just obnoxious. You gotta... I'm 100% with you guys that overpowered is trash and it needs to be toned down. I'm with you. But there's a way to do things. And spamming it in chat just makes you look like a 14-year-old... Anyway. Anyway. It needs to be changed. Overpowered, I don't think it's going to go away. It needs to be like 10% per rank of overpower. Okay? The Krakens will not be happy about that. The Krakens who like this, it's not all Krakens. Sessy's campaigning for it right now. I don't think Sessy cares as much. I think he's just pissed off that everyone is trying to rage at Krakens for literally no reason, right? Tell us more about your feelings of chitty chat peeps. I think overpowered should go down to like 10% per overpowered level. That way they can say it's still in the game. It still helps PvE content as players climb up. They can still use it against us in PvE content, but it's not crazy. And then maybe they can just cycle through these progression paths faster. In reality, what they should do is they should introduce a fourth metric to overpowered, and then you have it be 10% per overpowered. So we have levels, we have ISO, we have gear tier. They need to introduce a fourth one. It shouldn't be star levels, because star levels will go crazy, right? If I have a rank 3 character because I'm free to play and someone has a diamond, or even 7 stars, does that give them 40% more? That's kind of crazy, right? I think they need a fourth metric, a fourth new progression path that's more exciting, that's more like, you know, player driven and stuff to make that, to get that going. But it's 50% flat for having one progression path difference when that progression path already gives 25% more damage. It's too much. It's obnoxious. And I do think it's going to get changed. I think there's going to be a lot of people getting even more loud, even more angry about it over this weekend. And I bet by 2 weeks from now, I bet they let it ride for 2 weeks. And then they'll address it. Yeah. What else did we actually learn here that was interesting? So we got Human Torch, we got the Fantastic Four, the next Legendary is coming. My question got answered, but not all the way. So I understood. I get it. I fucking get it. Yes, the Legendary characters eventually go with Annihilus to make the goddamn Megazord, okay? But does Legendary character number 1, chapter number 1, get their Darkhold style team, or are they plug and play? Because there was some talk about like, okay, two reworks, but is that 2 reworks that go with the 3 Legendary characters, so you have the team before Annihilus? Or is that 2 characters per Legendary character to get plugged in? I think they're just standalone characters. Check DM Dorky can show chat. All right, let me take a look. Boom. This is my chat right here. Thanks, guys. Added to the voice PS5. Huh? Oh. Get it. Okay. So Zik won the gift for the mods, and he wants to add it to the kids' PS5 fund. So we're gonna do another $15 of that. That was one of the wheel spins. 6 characters, 2 reworks, Annihilus is one of them. So that's how it's gonna work. So these Legendary characters are gonna be true plug and play characters. So they said they're moving away from plug and play and from that sort of theory character, but they can't if these Legendary characters, we're going to get one every 3 months. They have to do something in the game. So clearly these are going to be plug and play characters. So theory crafting is not going away. We're just having a different form of it. And if these characters are anything, if they're anything like Old Man Logan and Shadow King, they're going to be very impactful. Those Legendaries about to be 11 overpowered instantly? Yeah, probably. Yeah. Add to the notes? All right, we'll see. All right, let me do it right now. Hold on. I'm not going to add it to the notes. I'm going to add it to the stream right away. We're at 16 now. 16 Toys Banked. Where are you going, Jacob? Oh. Thought I heard somebody going upstairs. All right, it is added in, Zig. No plug and play doesn't make sense. Introduce a new character that is useless until 6 months later. Makes sense. Yeah, so they're going to be plug and play. So they say they're moving away from that. At least that's what some of you said. Did they say that while I was gone? They're moving away from plug and play? I mean, you can't say that and then you give me the reworks to Server Sable and to Hitmonkey because they're just plug and play, right? Server Sable is now a plug and play character to counter Cosmic Ghost Rider, who's a plug and play character. Hitmonkey is now like a B tier plug and play turn 1 stun trauma. The VOD is not going to be put up. That's why I had to stream it live. The blog's not going to be put up for a while. Or sorry, the VOD is going to be put up for a while. They need to focus on adding more buffs to overpowered level 1 as well. What? They said they're going to need to focus on adding more buffs to overpowered level 1? I don't understand that. Okay. What else did we learn? The store stuff, it was kind of just clarifications that I think their blog did a really good job answering. So, if a player is a new player and they need stuff from the legacy store, they will have a way to convert the current best currency for the Intel store into legacy credits. Good. They shouldn't want to do that because the new best stuff is going to be in the new store, but at least they'll have an opportunity. Oh, thanks, Big Positive. I just got your DM. I'll save all this. That's good. Thunderbolt related character that we voted on was teased as a new legendary. Oh, it would have to be Hyperion then. Thunderbolt related character that we voted on was teased as new legendary. It's Thunderbolt then. Right? Thunderbolt. It's Hyperion then. Right? He's the only one who would be probably Victoria Hand. No fucking way. No way is Hyperion on a team and you put Victoria Hand as the legendary character. That's insanity. That'd be insanity. Okay, it's Hyperion. Victoria freaking Hand. Songbird would be fine, but it's gonna be Hyperion because he's goddamn Superman. Superman knockoff is not legendary. Superman knockoff is 100% legendary. I didn't miss anything. Okay, so it sounded like it was kind of a lot of just the community roasting them live on stream about overpowered. We got reworks to Fantastic Four coming and Human Torch. Sorry, we got a new Fantastic Four team coming. Definitely going to be the BioRay team. Rework to Human Torch. That's great. New legendary character is going to be Hyperion. That's cool. And that's about it. I would be so curious to look at their analytics for that stream and see how many people got banned. I just want to see how many people got banned there. That's what I want to see. Oh, Manfetti dropping 5 gifted subs. Thanks, Manfetti. I guess we might have to end the stream there and do a spin-off from Manfetti on our way out. I got Jacob's home now, so I gotta go play dad. Gotta go play the dad now. Let me find where I had the wheel. Was it here? It might have been here. We're about to find out. Meet you there. There we go. I got it. They can't rework Invisible Woman further. No, it's definitely gonna be Human Torch. Think I might be done with MSF. Why, Raiden? They can give her a rival style rework. Make her juicy. Is that what you're saying, Ceci? Oh my god. New Invisible Woman to give us that rival skin. You guys are crazy. You guys are insane. Didn't we vote for Songbird and Hyperion? Yeah, Purple Brown. So that's why Hyperion is going to be the legendary character for sure. Franklin, yeah, Franklin coming to the game would be cool, but it would be a little bit too much, don't you think? I don't know how you put Franklin and Molecule Man in this game. Putting Professor X in this game and doing him justice is hard enough. If you put Franklin in it, he doesn't have a goddamn I win button. People freak out. There's a new Sue Storm in Data Mines a while ago. It was under Battle World though. That's kind of interesting. I don't think that's going to be a thing. It's not really fun for me anymore. I get you there, Raiden. If that's how you feel, for sure, dude. I think that there's cool stuff coming. I think that the rogue-like is going to be a really fun game mode. But at the end of the day, the core gameplay Marvel Strike Force is the core gameplay Marvel Strike Force. And that's not going to change. You nerf them like Null and Dorm? Huh? Why would Hyperion be legendary? I thought Songbird would be. I mean, either one works. I bet it would be Hyperion, though. Malice and Negative Zone Johnny come in? Like a villain's Fantastic Four battle team? That'd be fun. Doom rework? We'd be so lucky. Franklin would be the first non-mythic character with empowered. That's how you do him justice? I guess so. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying, Shawnee. I guess so. I don't know. When did they say Thunderbolts would have a legendary? Well, if they said, I'm just going what you guys said. If they said that we voted on the next legendary character and it's Thunderbolts, that's Hyperion. And so and they said we're announcing the next legendary next week. So Thunderbolts announced next week with Hyperion as legendary character. It was teased by Pathfinder. If what you guys said is true, that's what I'm going on. Spin it for Man Fatty. Let's go. Not sauce. Please don't send the stream off with sauce. 20 push-ups it is. 20 push-ups it is. All right. Let me add that to the total. 20 push-ups. Jacob, you gonna do some push-ups with me, buddy?
What are you doing?
You gonna do some push-ups with me?
What you said?
You gonna do some push-ups with me?
What is push-up?
It's where we go on the ground with our hands and we push our bodies up over and over and over again. The exercise we used to do. And do it with me right now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna turn your YouTube down a bit, okay?
It's not YouTube.
What is it?
It's a different show.
Oh. New friend, thanks for the melodies. Brave New World. Interesting. Alright, so you're gonna, every time Daddy pushes himself down to the ground, you're gonna count, okay? And we're gonna go to 20. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So you stand where the camera can see you, and I'm gonna do the push-ups, okay?
Okay.
Ready? Yeah, you tell them, because they're gonna wanna know that I'm actually doing them, okay?
Okay.
Ready?
Go.
Why aren't you counting?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Keep going, I'm still going.
16, 18, 14.
That's not how you count.
But I don't know after 10.
Why did you stop? You know how to count over 10? That's crazy. All right.
Now it's your turn
My turn to do what?
to count and I do the push-up.
Okay. What are you doing? You're doing the downward dog. What are you doing?
No.
Okay. Okay. That's it. We out of here. Who we raiding?
Jam. Jammy the jam. I pick a new one.
Hold on. Pick a new show?
Yeah.
Okay. Not mobile? Okay. It was hard doing push-ups while laughing.
Yeah. Now look.
Mm-hmm. Dude, you're just doing the downward dog and then like moving your legs. Mary Milk, Mobile, Jesse.
Dad,
Yeah, Bubby.
we go upstairs.
Yeah, we're going upstairs right now. I don't see anybody but Mobile right now, so I'm gonna raid Mobile.
Mobile. Dad,
Yeah.
I want to work like this now.
I'll work like what?
This now.
You want an office like mine?
Yeah, like a secret office.
You gonna get a job and make money and pay for the house?
Yeah, I don't.
He's full of shit.
You know what I'm saying? When we're going up, I want to do it now, and I want some money to do my secret office.
Did Bendy start up or no? I don't recognize any of these names.
Why? We're not going.
And I think
up.
Jesse is a
Dad.
promotion stream, right?
Dad,
Okay, we're raiding off the Mobile, guys. Yes, Bubby. Yes.
why are we not going out?
We're going right now. We're going right now. We're going right now.
But you said we're going out now. Is right now. Ow.
Well, you slapped the table. Come say bye, everybody. Say it nicely. They can hear you perfectly fine. Say it nicely. No, you gotta say it audibly.
Okay. Bye!
Okay, he doesn't know what to do. Sorry, guys. He's new to this. He's not gonna be a streamer. He's gonna be a truck driver like I used to be, right?
Bye.
That's better. Okay, bye-bye. Sorry, YouTube. You guys are the best.